before we begin, Mr. West, word of prayer, and Mr. Coons, please stand.
Father, to begin this meeting, we ask that you be with the leaders and caregivers during this corona pandemic. Pray, Father, that they will look to you for guidance, let them lead them to a cure for this virus. Pray for students during the summer vacation season, and may they return to school safely in the fall. Father, we pray that you be with us during this meeting, and give us wisdom to help us make the best decisions for our school system. Most of all, Father, we thank you for Jesus Christ who died on the cross for our sins. Guide, guard, and direct us in everything we do. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to welcome each and every one. We certainly appreciate your attendance. We ask you to be with us every time that you can. Mr. McLaren is joining us via teleconference this season. Move to item number 3 on our agenda. Approve the minutes of the June 11th, 2020 regular session as received. Motion by Mr. West. Second by Mr. Weir. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, approve the agenda for the July 9th, 2020 regular session, as you have in front of you.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Hicks, second by Mr. Sherrill. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to item number 5. Consider the bids for a football field, scoreboard, and play clocks at Clay County High School. We did have a brief discussion there before the meeting, but we have 3 bids. As we understand, they're all the same, right, Mr. Edwards?
Yes, they all got the same spec sheet.
2 play clocks on each end?
2 play clocks,
One on each end?
One on each end. Now, the one on the end closest to the school, we'll have to, if we want to run electricity there, that's on us, we have to do that. But I was told that a lot of schools will just hook a little generator to it on Friday nights and let it run. Run the extension cord. You don't necessarily have to run electricity to it to make it operable. So those are options as well. I texted him and asked him if we installed the post ourselves, what would be the price difference. He hadn't got back to me yet.
What about service? I know, of course, you're looking at one in Georgia, one in Smyrna, and one in Cookville, so, I mean, the service is a big thing, because you're ever dealt with any kind of, you're getting bulbs, getting somebody to run out, and Cookville's hour away versus Smyrna.
The Electromech folks out of Georgia, we had trouble with the high school football scoreboard a couple of years ago when I called them. And they said they would come, but they charge from the time they leave Georgia until they get here, and then if they have to stay overnight, so they charge all that. The guy from Cookville told me if we had trouble, he'd be here. He'd fix it. If it was under warranty, he'd fix it. And the other guy, MT Score, who's out, he lives in Rutherford County, and his exact words were, "I've left the supper table many times, couldn't fix the scoreboard." And Mr. John had an incident or something with his scoreboard once, and he worked him through it on the phone about 20 minutes before the game started. So, and he does, MT Score does all of Trousdale County stuff, their football stuff. He does Vanderbilt baseball. He named off a bunch of other high schools around Metro. He said he didn't come out this way very much.
said Diamond, who did they buy theirs from, Ron?
It'll be the Electromech scoreboard. They buy theirs from Electromech out of Georgia.
He just added extra money because he's got to drive from Georgia, probably cost expenses coming, that's probably giving some money.
You ever dealt with the Diamond much?
I have not. I don't know of any that they've done locally. I know I think they've done some baseball equipment sales for a while. Coach Johnson was the guy who talked to him in regards to this. He knows it.
I was able to see, it looked like maybe they'd done a little something for Smith County, maybe even something for Upper, scoreboard. But mostly baseball, it looked to be. Do we know what the size is now, Rob?
I do. The size of the scoreboard
Yeah.
currently? I have it, Ross. I'm gonna go get it. It's very, very close to that.
It's the same size, I mean,
Well, it is, it's not counting the ads on it. You know, the big Coke ad and the Dasani ad at the top. It's the same size as what they're offering. The actual scoreboard itself.
So it sounded like MT Scores had pretty good service with them, dealing with them.
Well, as far as I know, and you know,
He had, he talked to him,
I'm sorry.
have any of the scoreboards here in the county, have they put up any of them here?
Yes, they did the basketball scoreboards, K8 and Herman Springs.
And it works, doing okay and everything?
Correct.
Yeah, we've had those scoreboards for 2 years. And the only issue was, they've been in like 2 weeks, and one night before the game, I was supposed to tell Mr. Edwards, something happened, and they're wireless now. Like, your control panel to the boards is wireless. It wasn't connecting. I called it, when he was there and installed them, he told me, you call me anytime you got a problem. So I called him, like Mr. Edwards was telling you, about 20 minutes before game time. He walked me through on the phone what to do. That fixed the problem. I haven't talked to the man since. So, and they've worked spotless since then. And like I was telling Mr. Edwards, Mr. Porter also uses it in the PE classes as a timer, like puts up 15 minutes. So that one down there I know has been used almost on a daily basis for the last 2 years as well.
It's never given you.
Never had a bit of trouble with it.
We're gonna do the installation,
Well,
Well, we could do it ourselves, right, if we wanted to. He's okay with that?
Install the post. Yeah. We can use existing posts if we want.
it'd be what, you said, 6 or 8 week window before they get here anyway?
4 to 6, yeah.
Okay. So we look into installing the post and see what that costs versus what they're
Right.
quoting. And if we can save money, it'd pay us to go that route.
Right.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Hicks to accept MT Scores low bid, seconded by Mr. West.
Reminder of the motion, Craig, we're basically approving it with the option to, if we need to, that's what I thought,
First option would be to look into doing it
Yes,
yourself.
yes. That's what I thought I heard, I'm making sure.
Again, motion on the floor by Ms. Hicks, seconded by Mr. West to accept MT Scores bid. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call a roll. Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Ms. Weir? Mr. Hatchett? Mr. Coon? Mr. McLean?
Aye.
Mr. Upton?
Aye.
Mr. Sherrill?
Aye.
Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Motion passes. That brings us to item number 6. Consider having a surplus sale on Friday, July 24th, 2020. You have a copy of the surplus items at this point in your packet. We, as we said in recent meetings, we haven't done that for some time. Maybe the list is a little more extensive than has been in times past. Motion by Mr. Weir, seconded by Mr. Upton. Have a surplus sale on Friday, July 24th, 2020. Any discussion?
How does this sell handle? Is this a live auction? Is this?
We'll have an auctioneer present. I think we have a couple options. We've done it. Jesse Lee's done it for us in the past.
Contacted him and still, he just does it for free.
He donates his time to do that.
So it is running the paper.
Yes, for 2 weeks, and then they'll be able to come by and pick up a list, and then, we'll have that morning at 9, and they'll put items on item numbers, and everybody will get a ticket with number 1, 2, 3, and we'll get it.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to item number 7. With our principal's report. Mr. G, we'll let you go first.
Okay, you got my paper there. I didn't have a chance to be here last month, my daughter graduated, so I had my goals on here. The first one, I guess, is the goal of the whole district, the whole state, is to maintain a safe learning environment. Not just COVID, but just security and, just continue what's already been done at the school to make it safe. The next one would be to increase the overall achievement. That's always a constant goal, to move that up. The next is just you're going to see maintain a few times because it's a good school to start with, just to continue on to maintain a good attendance rate. One thing I think we're missing sometimes in our curriculum, and I'm going to number 4, is building leadership potential in kids. So we're going to use Covey's 7 Habits as a guide. And on the back of this sheet, you'll see, I'm not going to go over all of them, but that kind of gives you an idea of what our school-wide emphasis will be this year. All of these are good. You can find Covey's work to apply to any job you have or at any age you have. There's probably a 7 Habits for highly effective board members if you look close enough. These will be communicated to the kids. We'll do activities with them. So I think that will help them not just now, but to ingrain that for the futures. It's a good thing. All right, number 5, continue incorporating technology. Of course, that's a given with the virtual programming that we're going to be doing to meet the needs of all kids. 6, I want to start a Fellowship of Christian Athletes program there. Coach Porter has already agreed to do that. So the Salina and the high school both have those programs, so I want to get that started too. And then maintenance, I know this is on the book somewhere to continue the efforts, but we really need to continue that window transition program. We've got that one in one class, and it's awesome. That well, you know, when you replace windows in an old house, it saves on everything, so, and security's better, so we wanna continue to that. And if we could, I know this is already there, so we wanna get that carpet up, and I know that's already been an effort to get that started, so we wanna do that. Updates, all of our staff are in place. We have a few new faces, besides mine there. Hannah Brown, Derek Haney is a new teacher. He's gonna be our music teacher. Beth McMurtry and Marissa Scott is returning to us. She taught at the high school for a few years ago. Now she's back doing our ELA class. And of course, our new SRO is Anthony Sherrill. So we're glad to have all these people on board. Our custodial staff and maintenance staff have been busy since COVID, getting the school ready. I think we can start school just any time. I think they're pretty much ready. The teachers wouldn't want me to say that, I'm sure, because they want as much time as they can. But the school's really looking good, and we're getting very close to being there. And I can't stress enough, I told you last year when I started at Salina KA, Alicia was just awesome to help me, and John's been the same way. You know, he has really supported me, given me files, a lot of files this week, a lot of files that he's transferred there. I'm not going to be able to go through all of them, but the support's there, and I appreciate that. So, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Ms. Tia, we'll let you go next.
Okay, which, the goals and stuff we talked about last time, so I'm not gonna repeat all that stuff. So I'm just gonna go through the stuff that we've done this past month at the high school. Our big thing, and that's one reason for the surplus sale, is we've been moving a lot of stuff around. Weights, TCAT, we've met with them this week actually. We've been working with TCAT Livingston to get the dual welding program and IT program up and running. We've worked out with them and made the list of what we need to order, who's gonna pay for what. We've actually come out to the good. They're actually gonna pay for a lot of stuff that we probably should be paying for, but they're gonna pick the bill up for us for that reason, you know, for us. We've had to move our FFA program back into the main building to get the other facility prepared for the TCAT, again, for the surplus items. We've actually, and we're in process, Rob checked on it again tonight. We're in the process right now, of course, refinishing and redoing the gym floor, and we've been taking bids for the football scoreboards. The big thing for the school, we've also purchased 30 new desks that we implemented. Actually, Mr. James Franklin has put them in his room as we speak right now. He just texted me and said they're in and they're beautiful, thank you so much. And we got 30 new cafeteria chairs to replace some of the ones that's been worn out in the cafeteria. The faculty has been working really hard on getting their daily lessons ready for online learning, you know, just in case. Most of my faculty has already passed the level 1 certification, and the rest of them are getting ready to take their test this week and next week. We have been scheduling interviews. For those of you that do not know, Coach Dickerson took a job in Lebanon, so he is no longer with us. So we are looking for his replacement. That's what I'm currently doing right now. And the last thing I had to pencil in, because I just got it today. Every CCHS student that is enrolled in an ag class is going to get their state and national FFA dues paid for this upcoming school year. So none of them will have to pay any dues for any ag class that they're enrolled in. So.
Ms. Tia, any questions? Mr. Maxfield, sir?
Well, mine's not much different than last time. We're still doing a lot of the cleaning, getting classrooms ready. We, this week started getting the tile down in the RTI room, and I think we'll probably finish that up tomorrow. And another classroom where they remove the carpet. So still got a lot of cleaning going on. Teachers are getting their classrooms ready for the start of the school year, and some are already getting their books out and getting in place. So a lot of good stuff there. And of course the Google Classroom, we've had several to get their, go ahead and take the test and have passed. So we're moving along, getting ready in that aspect. And even had some say that one day said that they had their social studies already planned up and ready to go for all the way up to Christmas. So they've been on the ball since they've been on. So now we, as Mr. G said, all of our staff's in order. We do in place, and we do welcome Barry Caney to our staff. That'll be helping out down there in the music department. again, you know, our goals, not anything different, we're just gonna try to make sure that we get safe for everybody, have a safe school environment, you know, as practical and feasible as possible for all, our students, and staff, and faculty that we have. And to also strengthen our scores for the upcoming, year. Any questions? One more thing I'd like to bring before you, at the meeting has approached me about, naming our gymnasium after a fellow former teacher that retired. It's been 37 years of time to Clay County. Began coaching for Salina Elementary during the early 1970s, and then moved on to the K after it was built, and coached there for a few years later on. Had a pretty good record, 300 wins and only 24 losses. He also served as a coach with the Salina High Lady Bulldogs for 4 years during the mid-80s. Took teams to the James C. Hill tournament, won a championship in 1981, was runner-up in '82. Again, has been an educator here at Salina for 31 years and coached for 28 of those years. So, would like you to consider vote on tonight, or they would vote next month.
That's Mr. Bobby Bartlett, right?
Yes, Bobby Bartlett.
I want to say on that, Mr. B, was a fine, godly man, role model for those students. He was back. Even y'all went to school down there. I think he's well deserving of it. Can we make a motion tonight on that? I'll make a motion tonight to dedicate the gym to Bobby Bartlett, Mr. B. In honor of him.
Well,
I'm for it.
I don't think so.
Well,
It was in the way we done it last time, it's in the resolution.
I think you'll find if you go around, David, anybody, you know, I know it's still good. I'll make a motion, yeah.
We have a motion, Mr. Upton. And seconded by Mr. Sherrill. To name the Salina Keg Gym in honor of Mr. B, Mr. Bobby Bartlett.
Me.
Any further discussion there?
Have some concerns about doing this sort of thing. And I had concerns the last time we done it, not that the people aren't deserving one way or another. I think we travel a very slippery slope of hurting feelings of some other prominent teachers, coaches, people that really put their time and effort into it. Because you can only name it once. And you kind of have that. So once that's in, you kind of put everybody else aside. And I have no personal gain one way or another because I didn't go to school there. I know it is, but I don't know it well. But I think we travel a very slippery slope doing this. There's nothing against him or anybody else, but you really put everyone else aside when you do this sort of thing. And they're good, I mean, I'm sure they've had lots of great coaches, lots of great role models over the years. But I'm willing to vote with the rest of the board because, again, I have no personal feelings one way or another toward this, but I would caution the situation.
I understand your concern, I know exactly what you're saying. I think additionally, at some point in the future, in order to not leave a lot of these people out, because there are a lot of people that give them a lot of time, some parameters could be set to identify and memorialize several others as well that are deserving. But I
You
think
have
it's,
to do more, to do that, too. There's room for everybody. You know, I understand. I still make the motion. David second, so. we'll do whatever.
Any further discussion at this time? If not, we'll call a roll. Mr. Upton?
Yeah.
Mr. Sherrill?
Aye.
Ms. Weir? Mr. West? Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Hatchett?
Aye.
Mr. Coon? Mr. McLaren? Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Motion passes. At this time, we'll move on to our director's report.
All right, guys, I'm as sick of talking about COVID-19 as y'all are hearing it, believe me, because right now it seems like we change every day some direction we get. But let me give you the latest. Of course, this Tuesday we met, and there's out of 18 districts that basically either call in or join us in some way at that meeting. 15 of the 18 are going back just like us. Now, and let me give you, White County's going back 2 days, White's going back 2 weeks, alternating days. And all they're gonna do is try to train them to do virtual in the event that they are out of school. So they're gonna do in 2 weeks what we're doing. They're going back full time. We're just gonna train ours while we're in school, those 2 weeks. But anyway, Warren County, Coach Wallace is gonna do, they're going alternating days, the AB schedule, until August 31st. And then they're going back full time. And Trousdale is still going back until November, until further notice, alternating days. And their thought is they might have better social distancing. That's the only difference in alternating days, social distance. Like you probably heard today, Metro Nashville, they're gonna start virtual, completely virtual. Rutherford County, though, there's another big, they're going back just like we are. So, we talked to a man that kind of serves all those counties, and he said for the bulk of it, everybody's going back, just like we're going across the state. Now, there'll be a few that don't, but everybody's going to try to get their kids trained. If they have to go virtual, they're going to be able to do so. Now, we took a survey, Misty put one out for us, and Misty, you help me on the numbers if I'm not, about 70% of the parents have said they'd like to go back as normal. Is that about right? Mid-69 point something.
We had 960 responses for the time that we left it posted, and out of those 960 responses, I think it was 66.8% said that they would like to be at school for all instruction, totally at school. The other two splits, the other two choices were blended learning. That would be what we called Group A, Group B, alternating day schedule. And then the third choice was all virtual. And I want to say it was roughly 17% all virtual, and then the remainder was blended. The least amount was blended, alternating days. But I want to say it was 66% to be at school, receiving instruction on campus, Monday through Friday.
But, so if we could do go back, and then they can all go virtual if they want to, any of us. So we're still going to be about 80% pleasing, or I'm sorry, about 80-something% pleasing, 80 would be 85% pleasing the best we can the population. So they can do that. And here you have this is what we've come up with, what we can do that's feasible and practical for us, that hopefully will help us. And this goes to what CDC recommends. Monday, a physician was online with us, and he told the directors through the commissioner's office, basically, or she did, I'm sorry, she said, we know you can't do everything. These are guidelines. Do what you can do to help keep people safe. We realize you can't do everything. And that's what she told us. Now, this afternoon, they said, this was on the 4 o'clock news, they said that most of the school-aged children, it doesn't affect them very much. And why? They said, of course you hear different every day, just on Channel 4 news, and they said, because a lot of them are getting vaccines, and they think those vaccines help prevent some of this stuff, makes them stronger. I thought we all need to go get those same vaccines they enter school with. Maybe that'd help us. So you never know what they're gonna say. But here, just look before coming to school, we're gonna ask the parents, please don't send their children to school with a fever. We're gonna also, if they've been around someone, please do virtual with them that day, just like they're out sick. Bus drivers are gonna clean their seats after each route. Family members will be asked to sit together on the bus, brothers, sisters, things like that. So we're gonna try to group them up that way. While at school, during that first period, we're gonna try to take the temperatures to make sure if they've got what we've been told, 100.5 or greater, we need to kind of quarantine and get the parents to come and get them. If they're around anyone, if somebody goes out and they test positive, we'll do a call out. If we find out, and here's the thing, we may never know. Through confidentiality, if the parents don't tell us, we'll never know. So, and I talked to a healthcare professional that looked at this for me today and said, Matt, that looks good. If you do as much distancing as you can, that would be the best thing. She said, it's the only thing you really need to add. Do it where you can. It's not feasible, we know, but try it. And I said, we will. But they told me in another county they had a husband and wife. Said the wife tested positive, had never had a symptom once, and the husband was down for 9 days. Said he felt like he's gonna die. How sore and sick he was. So that's the thing. I could come and have it, you never know. So we don't know who will report it or not. So that's what we're dealing with. But if we get someone that says they have it, we'll do a call out, and all we can say is your child may have been exposed to this. That's all we can say. We can't say who, we can't say where, we can't tell them. That's all we can do. The teachers in grade 5 through 8 will try to switch classes instead of students. So that will limit that group they're with or that pod from interacting as much as we can with other kids. Extra time we're going to give for hand washing. And if needed space, we're going to try to alternate days of eating in the cafeteria. So if we got to take back one bunch with their food and put them in there and pop a film in, let them eat, watch a movie, we'll let them do that during lunchtime. And that'll at least space them out in the lunchrooms if we need to. And social distance as much as possible. And guys, in a 30 to 30 room, that's traditionally what school rooms are. If you've got 25 kids, it's hard to space out a lot. But we're going to have to assign seats so we know who's been around who. And that'll be another way we can kind of track it. If parents or students choose, they can wear, or teachers or students choose, they can wear masks. And Misty talked to Tina, they've already got us masks sent in for all the kids. And I know there's some districts making them. I think you're better off asking parents if they want them to. You get a lot more cooperation when you ask somebody to help. And probably what we'll ask them is if you are coming within that 6 feet or close, slip it up, put it up. Ask the teachers the same thing. That's what we're going to do. All students will be issued their own Chromebooks. Y'all know that. We have the option of virtual. And we got the team of mask in today. Community, we're going to limit the access to the buildings, and that's going to be rough on some people, but about everybody's doing this, they're having to. All parents and visitors prevent the spread of any possible contamination from outside. We're asking parents to drop their child off at the door and don't enter the building for the safety of the school population. This includes no longer coming to eat breakfast and lunch with them and not bringing snacks down the hallway to them. We'll have a place they can drop snacks off, and it'll be transported up to where it goes. And virtual instructions is an option, and we're estimating, Lisa, I know she's having a guess, and we could have 20 kids up to 150, couldn't we, Lisa, do virtual. And if we have a lot do virtual, that'll help with the spacing of the children in the schools too. But guys, I promise you this, I'll text you when something big and new comes. Nothing's really changed, everybody's kind of still waiting. And of course, we heard Monday there would be Wednesday, we heard there would be a big announcement yesterday afternoon, and we never got it. It was basically CDC, and CDC said we're not changing anything, but what we want you to know is that's still the guidelines we recommend. We just know you can't meet them all. That's the perfect world guidelines. So we're going to try to do what was practical and still have school. Because if we wash hands, and I don't mean this, if we wash hands as much as they want you, we're going to let them go wash hands maybe every hour if they need to. If we wash them like they say, we'll be going up and down the hallway more than we'll be doing anything else. In case you hear, we are going to block off the water fountains and not use them. We've got, each got bottle refills, handless, touchless. So have them bring their bottles and they can refill them at the water fountain. It's not the real water fountain, it's the touchless, water station. So we're gonna try to do things like that the best we can. And guys, I'll tell you, we're gonna start, in all this, we're gonna give them the options, and we're gonna put this, if y'all agree, put this on the website tomorrow. Kind of put this on everybody's website, put a little film. It's about 5 to 10 question answers that we've been asked, and that way, hopefully, it asks some of their questions, and it'll let us know how many people will want to come and do virtual learning. So, because we could go months and never have to shut down. They've recommended this, and let me give this to you in case you hear. They asked us, the physician on Monday said, don't you shut down schools? Because all the schools don't affect each other. Well, she's talking about Rutherford County. Rutherford County's got a high school over here with 2 or 3 feeder schools that does not work with 90% of the other counties. I understand that if this one gets it, shut this down and leave the others go. Well, us, if first somebody gets it at Herman Springs, they've got a brother or sister that go to the high school that go to the K-8, everybody. And I've talked with, and I'm gonna use our size system, I've talked to Pickett, and I've talked to Van Buren. Well, they said they'll likely shut everybody down if they get numbers rising. I'm not saying you get one case and shut down, but if numbers start increasing, you may have to shut everybody down for a 5 to 10 day period doing virtual. It's still, we're doing virtual learning. Teachers will still be coming to school and teaching that. Okay? So that's what we've talked. I appreciate the principals, Misty, we talked, Lisa, we talked once a week, every week, just about this. And this is what we've come up with we can do that's realistic. Now, any other ideas or questions asked, and we'll answer why we don't think we can, or why, you know, y'all have any asked us, guys. We've sat and talked about all the questions we've got from parents and concerns, but I asked, everybody, most districts are doing about this to a degree. The only thing we've changed is that state troopers don't really want us to let the bus, we originally wanted the bus drivers take temperatures, but when you're out on 52 or some of the routes to go to Herman Springs, the top hills, and you're sitting there, 15 seconds means a lot when there's somebody coming over the hill, you know, taking a temperature. So we're better off just to get them on the bus and take them to school as best we can. That's why we've changed that. State troopers don't, they advise against it, is what they say. But questions, guys, I ask. I mean, they told Mr. Denton the other day, they can get internet to every person in this county if they want. You don't know what they told you? Talked to
Twin Lakes, I spoke to a service guy, and he said there's not a house on Twin Lakes network, if they want internet, that they can't get it to them.
Now, this past spring when that was offered, I know Lisa talked to some, and they were offered, these families were offered, and they wouldn't let them come in and put it in. So, we can't do anything about that. If they don't, you might have a couple go home to school, but that would be their choice. We hope they don't. I think we'll get more to do this home school or this virtual school than anything, and I hope they do. We don't want to lose anybody.
But that is one thing, is that they'll have to provide their own internet access.
If they do virtual, here, the state law says this, we're covering 2 to 3. It says, well, we're taking care of 2. They said to do virtual, it doesn't matter if there's an outside system, you know, somewhere nationals serve us, they are supposed to do virtual. In our state law, it says they have to provide their own computer or Chromebook, a printer, and their own internet. Well, we're giving them a Chromebook and they don't really need a printer. All they have to do is provide internet. Twin Lakes is doing that for most everybody. So if they want to, it's there. But we're trying to make it as easy on parents as they can, and then if they want to play sports, it's no different than homeschool, they can. So, speaking of that, forgot sports, y'all gonna get that, we don't know yet. Tito Leslie backed off voting this week, and they there's 3 plans out there basically they're gonna do. Some of it's delayed season, 2 weeks on everything, but that's what everybody thinks they're gonna do, and then start it 2 weeks later, who knows? The last they said, I guess it was yesterday, they're working with the governor's office, and gonna try to come up with something together. But that's what we know. Any questions on any of this? If y'all got any ideas, guys, can give it to us. We'll try to come up with a way to do it, but it's hard when you're trying to fix everybody's needs and wants out there. It's tough.
Bus drivers take the temperature before the kids get off the bus at the school, so you're not at least exposing everyone to what's that kid.
Well,
Really?
I'm gonna use what T is gonna do. She's gonna start the year trying to do this. She said, like, she won't let them all pile out of the bus. She'll take this bus out and take them as they come off the bus and as they go in. So if she has to stop one and turn them around, she can't. And that's what we're gonna try to do, is they enter the doorway, take those temperatures. Now, we have about 66 thermometers, right, Ashley? 65. So we've ordered additional. Now, is that what the state gave us? The additional?
They only gave us 30.
Okay.
They only give you like, I don't remember how many it was for ADM,
Oh,
but
for
our
child.
ADM, it was 30. Yeah.
So we'll use what we can like that, like you
We've
say.
ordered 40, but we've already doled some out to the coaches, but now, I'll just go ahead and tell every one of you, those thermometers aren't gonna last, I'll be surprised if they last 2 weeks in school.
We've had probably 5 of them tear up and quit on us right now.
I don't know what I'm
They're
doing.
$100 for thermometer. Used to be 25, now with the need, they're going up. And you're lucky to get them, aren't you, Ashley? But, we're gonna do the best we can with them. But we do it before we go in, Mr. Asher, yes, sir, that's what we're gonna try to do the best we can.
Do they have to sign up for the virtual learning? Is that something they specifically have to sign up for, or all students can be signed up within the first week or so?
Well, in the first 2, we're asking if they're gonna do virtual to still come to school the first couple of weeks just to go through to see how to log in and do those things. And then after that, if John's got a form, I think it is, don't you? That
Yes,
they're
there's
gonna-
a virtual learning contract that outlines what the student expectations, the parent expectations, and the recommendation. They come the first full 5 days of school to learn. This is a new operation for everybody, the students and the teacher. So I recommend they come for 5 days to learn that process. But there is a form that they will have to fill out at the school they'll have to register and fill out the virtual school contract at the school they're enrolled in.
Now, if they can't because they've got a sickness, we work around it.
That's what I was gonna say. I had a parent that had an immunocompromised child that asked if they hadn't seen their kid on. I said, my understanding right now is, no, there's a
That's
virtual
right.
learning.
But
option.
we're gonna work around that if they can because they've got an issue. The other thing that we talked about today, you're gonna get some that may start out one way. We can't let them bounce back and forth all year long. So if they start out one way, we're gonna try to ask them, in most circumstances, to stay that way during 4.5 weeks or half the grading period. And then if they wanna switch, let them, but then switch and stay over there. They can't just keep bouncing back and forth. You know, because I didn't get to see my friend, I'm gonna do, you know. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna ask them to stay 4.5 weeks. And if there's a circumstance, we understand, we have to do it case by case. For the most part, we're gonna ask that they stay 4.5 weeks. But we're gonna have a little question and answer thing, on the website, that we're gonna try to answer some of your questions, and they feel free to call any of us and ask. Correct. We'll try to answer what they've got. But it's new to all of us, guys. We're not expert at it. It's new. But we're a lot more prepared for the virtual this year, aren't we, Miss Strong?
Yes. Ask any of the teachers in the district, and they will tell you that they know more about virtual learning now than they ever have before. More than they ever wanted to know, probably. But that's been the state's initiative, and part of our planning process the state approves has to be that we have provided virtual instruction, professional development to all district teachers. And so that's been our main initiative this summer, was to train our teachers in virtual instruction.
And what type of virtual instruction? standard, it
Yeah,
has to be
standards-based
standard-based
instruction.
virtual instruction. You guys, anything you think of? Like I said, it's new for all of us on this part, we're learning, and we'll change as we have to, modify what we're doing as we need to. I'll say this, you saw this on the news the other day, how the national, these over children said they don't learn as good, they will not learn as good virtually, but safety comes first also. Safety comes first. So, if we can get them here, we'd love to have them. But if you have anybody that don't want to send them, tell them don't. Send them, we'll do virtual with them. Had a parent ask this, is a great question. Will you try the ones that's doing virtual to have other times you might meet with them? Yeah, we'll try to do that. Or if they want to come and meet, or they want to virtually meet with that person one-on-one, we'll try to get some times for that too.
Because that sports question, and this is one of the things that Don answered, if you thought of, is that if a kid's doing, and I've read and heard about this already, if they're doing virtual, they've done football practice. There's no limitation of sports. What if they don't come to school, and you're signed up to come to normal school like that, and they don't want to come to school that day, but you still want to come to practice? Is that an issue? Is that something you look at? Or is that something that's, you know,
That's a great question, because, I mean, I'm gonna say they probably can, and I'm gonna tell you what they told today on taking attendance on this virtual. I mean, it's different. We were all prepared for how those teachers, Lisa's been working with the teachers, take the roll, write it down right then. Today, they told Misty 3 ways that if the teacher emails that child that day, or the child emails the teacher, they're counted there. If there's a phone call made that day between somebody, they're there. Or if the child has no communication for 2 or 3 days, but yet they turn the assignment in from 3 days ago, they're there.
Those are options,
Yeah.
Mr. Evans.
Options.
Yeah.
They're options, we don't have to include those
Okay,
options.
well, I was gonna say, but
And-
they're making it to where you're,
And the
Yeah.
options are obviously gonna be age appropriateness. Obviously, they're gonna allow the parent to do some of the communication because the kindergartner is probably not gonna pick up the phone and call their teacher. So, and that part is gonna be a big question of, is this appropriate contact for that age level of student? I think the state is trying to make options that would cover everybody's different situation.
For a high school student, they should have no trouble doing what's expected.
Right.
Like I said, a kindergartner's not gonna be able to email their
No.
teacher a question.
But there will have to be some allowances for timing. And so part of the options that we're giving our students through virtual instruction will be what I call live. Ms. Smith is doing math at 8 o'clock to 8:45. So one of your options will be that you tune in to Miss Smith's math class from 8 to 8:45. However, that same math class video will be made available after that time to that student, just like if they're doing it at 8 o'clock. So it may be later in the morning that they access that video, but still the same level of participation will be required as far as work submission. Does
and
that
we'll-
make sense?
And we'll have the same thing. Our
Yes.
lessons will be stored either on their,
Mhm.
that teacher website or on, is it through YouTube?
Yes.
But it's frustrating because there's such a wide variance of what they're gonna look, have an option checking row. That's why. You guys, and I have to do this, talk to Mr. Winkler, and he said, we do need to, he said, all the districts are doing it, just to format, we need to just, so we have teachers and pros and all come, we need to just identify them as all employees as essential personnel.
We need a motion on that.
I like a first and a second, a motion and a second.
I move that all school personnel are essential.
Mr. Penn's has made a motion to consider all school personnel essential employees. And it has been seconded by Ms. Weir. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Any questions for Mr. Elder? Any other new business at this time that needs to come before the board? If not, we are motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Weaver. Second by Ms. Hicks. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.